Welcome back everyone to my channel. Today I'm going to do a review of the Supernova with the primary manipulation 4 by Jonathan Brooks, and this is a Leonardo pen. Take the sleeve off there, and of course you've got the normal Leonardo logo. We'll take that off. So a triple layer packaging, if you will. And then we have your standard clam shell. And inside that, you're going to have your normal pamphlet of marketing material and additional pens that they sell within the environment. And of course, this one is actually from Applebaum. So if you haven't used Applebaum, Yost and the team there are pretty awesome. So with the pen, you get a nice, bottle of their black ink. This is a 40 ml bottle. And then inside the bed you have a nice cushion for the pen itself. This is something new. I've ordered some additional ones and doesn't normally have this little extra, I don't know if you can see it there, but a little extra piece for cushioning. It might just be for additional grip for the actual bed here. And you got your normal Leonardo tie there. So we'll take that out. And for those who haven't seen it, there's multiple trims in this, from I think rose gold to silver to ruthenium here. We'll take that off as well too. I do enjoy the flat caps versus more of the cone shaped, but I don't typically care. I don't mind the actual normal small pointed ones as well, but I do enjoy like the flat nibs. And then this one is a limited edition, so a little bit hard to see, but it's 97 of 199. So as soon as this came out, I kind of jumped on it, and I don't know if the camera can catch it, but you can see the pearlesque view right there. It's just really nice with the oranges, the greens, and a burnt orange or sienna, if you want to call it, into there. And then further down you get some nice purples as well too. The band, it's kind of looks like a herringbone, but little I guess pull infinity squares and or bow ties, but it's just a normal thicker band. You've got the small band, larger thicker band, and then another small band, and then the body. One thing I did notice is this is kind of loose right here, so I haven't inked this up yet. I'm going to do a writing sample, but I'm just going to do it as a dip. But this is a little interesting that it just has a nice, interesting wobble to it. I don't know if it'll impact anything in regards to the pen itself. And you've got your standard Leonardo clip with the roller ball end there at the point. And then uncapping it. As I mentioned, I went with the Ruthenium trim, so I do enjoy the darker trim on this, and this is a medium nib. And then I do like the change that they made with the ink view window inside versus sticking out a little bit on some of the other models, especially the Magico. I think the Magico has that similar thing, but the newer versions of the Magicos don't show that. It shows it once you uncap it, and you can kind of take a look at what's going on inside that as well. And then, as I mentioned, this is a piston filled, so as you piston this down, you can see the piston coming into the ink window there, so it gives you a nice visualization of what's going on. It's very smooth. The only thing I mentioned earlier was that if you tighten it up, it's fine. There's no look, so maybe I just didn't tighten it up all the way and lock it into its place to give it that nice feel. Other than that, I think it's a beautiful pen. It has all. This is a primary manipulation is one that I missed out on earlier on in an information, so I'm glad that they kind of added it into the Supernova version of it, and also it being a new pen by Leonardo as well. The grip section is actually okay for me. It doesn't sit back too far for me in that scenario, and the threads are nice and smooth, so it's not too impactful. I typically don't like to cap my pens, but it is capable, but it's not very secure. And I'd be a little afraid to scratch anything up onto that as well if I was working on it. So, but it sits nice and firm back here, so I don't have to worry about it. The grip section is nice, and it's long enough for me. And the step up, which is I think fairly significant because it doesn't have a nice edge into it. The window kind of cuts into the threads a little bit, then you get the nice step up into it. But unless you're a back writer with the pen, you would probably feel it on your middle finger as you're holding it up. But other than that, I think if you're just the normal near the flare, I think you're kind of fine with the simple writing techniques. But it's just a beautiful pen. In general, I just love the color, and I know the lighting isn't super great, but it does have a nice pearl-esque essence to it as you twirl it around. The colors catch the light and just gives off a nice radiant view of it. Very similar to, like the Lilliput Flames or whatnot. It just feels like it's kind of especially in the orange areas, it feels like it's just kind of almost, fired a little bit in that scenario. So it's kind of nice. So I had originally intended to kind of, from a writing sample perspective, ink this up with a new Ferris wheel press ink, the green with Curiosity. And this is kind of what it looks like. It does have green and blue sheen and red shading, but unfortunately the bottle is ridiculously small in regards to trying to get any nib inside there. So I actually am going with a similar one, which is the Garland Inkvent Red Edition. So the red edition is what I was, and again, it's very similar. The green is a little bit darker on the Ferris wheel press side of the house. This is more of a teal, and has a little bit of blue. But I mean, from a comparative perspective, it's not too far off, and I think it just might not be 100%. Maybe a blue one would be also very nice. But I mean, there's so many choices of colors to go with. You can go with like a purple aspect of it. You can go with orange. So the color options are actually very, very wide range as far as what you can do with it from a selection perspective. So we're just going to go with the Garland Inkvent Red for this one here. And we're going to use the Everyday book from Galen Leather. This is their 52 GSM White. And honestly, this will be the first book that I use for actually swatching it up. So it'll be a nice addition for me. So we'll get this going. Again, I'm just going to do a dip. I'm not going to go ahead and fill up today. I don't plan on using this one. I've got a couple of other inked up pens. So again, for those that haven't seen it, just a nice little Diamine ink vent. Do love the little glass bottle into that. So we'll open that bad boy up. So I think let's come in a little bit more. So a little scratchy as you can hear in the background, but nothing too bad. A little bit darker on this Tomoe River paper here, but again, fairly smooth. I typically go with medium nibs onto there, but I do have an elastic one coming here soon with their Magico Emerald, so I'll be able to take a look at that. Wet-wise, I mean, it's a fairly wet ink. It looks like, and also a little gusher, and again, it's got the nice ebonite feed into there. Little line variations, nothing too much, no major pressure here associated with it. So The up and downward strokes are fairly even. The downward strokes seem to have a little bit more line variation associated with it as well. But again, not too bad. And again, this is kind of a medium. I'll have to check out the flex a little bit. I'm not too much into the flex. I don't really have a whole lot of flare, but I'm hoping it'll kind of help out a little bit, get that back into frame. So thank you all for joining me on this first review. Hopefully you found it informative, and if you get a chance, definitely check out the Supernova Primary Manipulation 4 from Leonardo. And like I said, I just love this trim here. It's a little bit darker, but it definitely matches up very nicely. So have a wonderful day, everybody. And if you wouldn't mind, new channel, please hit the subscribe, like button. I love feedback on it and love your comments.